So a couple weeks ago I made a video going into detail about some of the most insane stories about Kobe Bryant and his crazy work ethic. And as you guys can see, you guys really enjoyed that video. And so I thought, why not make a part 2 to that? And so today we're going to be talking more about crazy stories about Kobe Bryant just to emphasize how crazy this dude's work ethic actually was. But before you begin, if you're new here, I'm Double D. I'm a huge basketball fan, I make NBA videos here on YouTube. So if you're also an NBA fan, or just a basketball fan in general, feel free to hit the sub button, and click the bell to be notified when I upload more videos just like this one. Alright, let's get into the video. So in the last video I was talking more about some of his greatest trash talk moments, and I threw in some stories about his work ethic, but in this video I'm focusing more on the work ethic side of things, because I'm sure that a lot of people already know that Kobe had possibly the greatest work ethic of all time. And some of these stories will really show it. So back when Kobe was in high school, his work ethic was even insane back then. And the thing that shows this is just how often he practiced and how seriously he took his practices. Because when Kobe was in high school, he used to show up at 5 a.m. for a 7 a.m. practice. But that's not the craziest part, because after practice he would make his teammates stick around and he would play one-on-one against them. But these weren't just usual one-on-ones to 11 or 15 or something like that. This is Kobe we're talking about. So these one-on-one games went all the way up to 100. And so to make things even more insane, one of his old teammates, Rob Schwartz, said in an interview that he did the best out of anybody on the team, and still the best he ever did against Kobe was 100 to 12. That's imagine being 16, 17 years old taking your sport that serious. That is wild to me. But it doesn't stop there. Because when Kobe was drafted into the league, he maintained that same dedication towards the game of basketball. Byron Scott, who was Kobe's teammate at the time, said that, "I heard the ball bouncing, no lights were on. Practice was at about 11, and it was probably about 9 or 9:30. And I go out onto the court and I look, and there's Kobe Bryant, he's out there shooting in the dark. And I stood there for probably about 10 seconds and I said, this kid is gonna be great." Which, I mean, would you expect anything else out of him? But perhaps one of the biggest blemishes throughout his entire career came in the playoffs of that very same season. In the 1997 playoffs, the Lakers played against the Utah Jazz. And in the Game 5 matchup with the Lakers facing elimination, this is what happened.
So Kobe Bryant, the young rookie, straight from high school. 8 seconds left. Bryant guarded by Russell. 5 seconds left. 4. Bryant drives, pull up. Shot on the way. No good. Carvalho rebounds. We go to overtime. Bounce, wide right, Van Exel, fake stock away, cross court left, open, Kobe Bryant for 3, another air ball. He shoots back-to-back air ball, Jazz basketball.
That's hard to believe.
Van Exel, yo-yo, Van Exel backs it out, straight away to Kobe Bryant. Bryant for 3, it's short again, air ball, the young rookie, 3 times. He shot air balls, zero pressure, Stockton with the ball. So front court, Jazz with him. Stockton all over him. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Here's a three-pointer, air ball again by Kobe Bryant. Another air ball. 4 seconds left. It's Stockton. It's over. It's over. Abu believe. It's over.
And after this game, a lot of different things happened. First off, in Kobe's own words, and after that game, I went to the gym and I shot all night. All day. And I mean all day. And this was right after that playoff game. And Shaq said,
"That's why I was the first one to come grab you and say, hey, I know everybody's laughing and giggling out, but one day people will fear you at the end of the game." So I knew that about you as an 18-year-old. You know, it was fun.
So it's pretty safe to say that this is probably one of the main things that made him such a great clutch shot maker later on in his career. Because now he holds the NBA record for most game winners for a single player with 36. Jerry West puts it into his own words here.
You know, I really felt that was a defining moment in his career. You know why? If somebody would have shot an air ball on our team and had shot a second one, they were going to shoot a third one. He was fearless. I think that's one of the things that spurred him to greatness. He wasn't going to allow himself to fail.
So on top of his crazy work ethic and practices, Kobe also had probably the craziest pregame ritual of all time. Because on every game day, Kobe used to do what were called suicide push-ups. Now, you might be wondering, Double D, what in the hell is a suicide push-up? Well, luckily we have Rick Riley from ESPN to explain exactly what they are. At the top of the push-up, he launches himself off the mat so hard that both his feet come off the ground and he slaps his chest. He does 3 sets of 7 of these. This makes me turn away and whimper softly. And that makes sense, because... Bro, what? It's already hard as it is to just slap your chest during push-ups, but to launch yourself off the ground and do it, you... Okay. But this next one sort of goes hand in hand with the story that I told in the last video. And if you've already seen that one, then you already know that Kobe tore his rotator cuff in his right shoulder and came back into the game shooting left-handed. But when Kobe was in just his 3rd season, he suffered a broken right hand and was put in a cast. But of course, Kobe's grind never stops, and so he started practicing with his left hand, with his cast still on his right. He was just that dedicated to his game. But you don't truly start to understand until you see the expectations he had for other NBA players. Because back before he made it to the NBA, OJ Mayo was part of Kobe's basketball camp back in 2007, and he was actually one of the top recruits at the time. So he asked Kobe to work out with him, to which Kobe accepted, and Kobe said he would pick him up the next day at 3. And so OJ was okay, I can't call him OJ, those are such unfortunate initials to have. So Mayo was waiting for Kobe at 3, like he promised. But Kobe failed to show up. Wait, what? And so the next time OJ Mayo saw him, he said, "What happened? You said you were coming at 3. To which Kobe responded, 3 in the morning, not 3 in the afternoon. Because, of course he wanted to work out at 3 a.m. But it's that same drive that inspired other NBA players who have already worked their entire life to get to where they are. It even inspires them to work harder. This story is told by former NBA player and current analyst Jay Williams, who was about to play against the Kobe and Shaq Lakers. And he also had that attitude of wanting to outwork people, and so he decided to show up to Staples Center 4 hours early to shoot around. The game started at 7, and he showed up at 3. And yes, this was 3 p.m. this time. But he walks out onto the court, and what do you think happened? If you guessed Kobe was already there, then you win a congratulations from me for guessing right. And it wasn't like he had just gotten there. He was already in a dead sweat when I got there. And so Jay goes out, he starts working on shots, practicing, and he goes on for about an hour and a half, and Kobe still hasn't left the floor yet. So Jay takes a seat, starts loosening his shoelaces, and he's just watching because he's like, I want to see how this guy works. And what he sees is that Kobe isn't just doing moves like lazily or anything like that. He's doing moves like he was in the actual game at game speed. And so he sits there and just watches him for about another 20 minutes, and then Kobe stops for a bit, and Jay starts walking off the floor to go back to the locker room before the game. And as he's walking off the court, he starts hearing the ball bouncing again, and he's like, dude, this guy's still working? And apparently it paid off, because Kobe went on to score 40 points that game. And so after the game, Jay went up to him and he asked him like, hey Kobe, why were you in the gym for so long before the game? And what Kobe said to him changed Jay's entire thought process forever. He said, because I saw you walk in, and I wanted to let you know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, I'm willing to work harder than you. And all Jay thought after Kobe told him that was, I need to start doing more. Kobe inspired other NBA players to be better. Like, do you understand how insane that is? These are guys that have been playing basketball, working on their game their entire lives, just to get here. And he makes them realize that they're not doing enough. That's insane to me. More in line with his crazy work ethic was the fact that during his career, Kobe used to have crazy practice routines. I mean, we know this already, but after team practices, Kobe refused to leave the court until he made at least 400 shots. After every single practice. And when Sports Illustrated was covering his practice routine, he did an interview with them and said, I go from spot to spot. I quit today when I made 400 shots. To which the interviewer responded, how do you know? And Kobe says, what do you mean, how do I know? Because I counted them. That's not all. Because during his time with Team USA in the Olympics, he made it a point to get even more practice in. And so he bumped that number up just a little bit, from 400 to 800. Yes, during the Olympics, Kobe Bryant used to show up at 4 a.m., work out until practices started at around 8, and then make 800 shots after practice ended at 11. But this last story will just confirm how crazy he actually was. So during the 2009 finals, the Lakers were going up against the Orlando Magic led by Dwight Howard, and they were already up 3-1 in the series, and Kobe was on his mission to prove that he didn't need Shaq to win rings because he hadn't won since 2002, and Shaq had already won a ring when he went to Miami. And so this was a pretty important series and game for him. And so Arash Markazi from Sports Illustrated says that they put me up in the team hotel. I had been out with some reporters and I came back and saw Kobe Bryant in the hotel lobby bar at around 2 a.m. sipping on a Corona, talking to his friends, just enjoying himself. And then goes on to say, I went back up to my hotel room and I couldn't really sleep that night. So around 4 or 5 a.m. I left and walked around, and I see Kobe leaving the hotel gym in a full sweat, like the sun wasn't even out yet. Of course, Kobe later that day went on to score 30 points and clinch the championship in 5 games to win his 4th ring and first finals MVP. There are just so many things that will show you just how crazy this dude actually was when it came to working on his game. Because he wanted to be the best. And he got pretty damn close in my eyes, and he actually succeeded in the opinions of a lot of people in the comments on the first video. And that just shows that if you put in the time and the work, everything else will eventually come after. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to focus more on the work ethic side of him rather than just the trash talking in this video, so let me know what you thought about that. But subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.